All right, good afternoon, Corona Daze Professional Development Group. Thank you for joining us this Saturday. I am Johnette Edwards, the founder of Corona Daze Professional Development Group. And this afternoon, I am honored to be here with Dr. Johnette Ruffner-Ceaser. This is her encore presentation with us. She is the CEO and founder of Liberated Expressions, LLC. And she's going to lead this interactive session with us this afternoon called Activate Your Provision. And Provision, which is professional vision, is an opportunity for professionals to create a plan for manifesting professional goals through resume assessment and vision boarding. You will experience a total mental makeover. Your professional blockages will be removed, and you will finally have the clarity, the confidence, and the voice to boldly pursue your dream career roles and opportunities without hesitation. So during this session, you will confidently articulate your next professional move, unlock the mental blockages that are holding your professional dreams captive, identify and confidently articulate what you really want, learn how to identify your professional superpowers. You will remember, renew, and reconnect with your dreams, release the past and embrace new professional possibilities, learn how to transform employment challenges into opportunities. Provision is ideal for mid to executive level professionals who need to regroup from a career disruption, a layoff, a fire, a downsize, who need professional clarity, professionals who feel bored or stagnant and desire a professional change, or people who want to identify their professional value, desire time, space, and support to dream. So I am going to immediately turn this over to Dr. Ceaser, and I'm going to ask you, Dr. Ceaser, since we did not do today a bio, if you'd like to share some of your background with us before you begin, and I'm going to mute myself and turn off my video.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. And Johnette, thank you so much for allowing me to be here again to share. And I also want to congratulate you for being the recipient of an Elevation Award. It really goes to show that what you do for others with a pure heart will come back to you. And I want to thank everyone who's joining the session live or the replay for being here and trusting me with your time. As Johnette mentioned, I am Johnette Ruffner-Ceaser. I am the CEO and founder of Liberated Expressions, LLC. Liberated Expressions is a professional services agency where we teach primarily professional women how to leverage their professional superpowers, one resume at a time. And so I'm really, again, happy to share with you all. And today's session, Activate Your Provision, is really sort of part two of the session that I shared last time entitled, Fear Not, Discomfort is Dream Fertilizer. So, I wanted to, this session may be a bit different than what you have been accustomed to. It really is an opportunity to take a step back, if you will, because I think we are so immersed or so consumed with securing a new job or recovering from a layoff, and that can put us in a place of fatigue, job search fatigue, if you will. And, I'm providing this because I know what that looks like. I know what it feels like to be in that space. And so this session is for those of you who are experiencing a measure of fatigue, you're doing the work, you're participating in workshops and sessions, and you have all of your things together. You know how to interview, you know how to tweak your resume, you've identified your professional brand. And so you have all of these things, but really right now you're tired and your vision is a little foggy and you may not be sure of which direction to go into. And so I'm creating or wanted to share this with you to give you that space and that time to get more clarity and to give you an opportunity to map out your professional vision. Job search fatigue, I just want to stay on this for a moment, is real. It is very real. And it's one of those components in professional development that I don't think we spend enough time on. And really, it's probably one of the most important parts of the process because it's about mental and emotional health. And we know that through this process of job searching, there are many peaks and valleys, and sometimes it could feel like more valleys than peaks. And so job search fatigue is not a figment of your imagination. It is very real, despite what some folks with a job or happy in their roles may tell you. And it can be a major stumbling block for many professionals and it can set your job search back significantly if we're not very careful. And a person who succumbs to job search fatigue will likely start to question their value and become a little confused, and it can start to chip away at our confidence. And so my hope and my prayer is that through this session, that you will walk away, as Johnette mentioned, with the total mental makeover, that your professional blockages will be removed and you will regain the clarity, the confidence, and your voice to boldly pursue your dream career, your dream role opportunities without hesitation. So before we begin, we need to prepare for this space, for this engagement. And I would like to invite you that if you are not in a quiet space, I would like to ask you to go to that space now. To also maybe put away your cell phone if you're not using it for this session. I think sometimes we really have to honor a space of solitude and identify a space of solitude in order to really take advantage of the things that are around us, to gain energy, to gain or identify the good things around us, because many times we're frazzled, we're stretched, we're too busy to even take a moment out for ourselves. And so I want to invite you to honor yourself, to give yourself the gift of serenity, if you will, of peace, and to be in a space where you can really take the time and the opportunity to engage in this session properly, okay? A few other housekeeping things. I don't know if you had this or not, but there is we're gonna do some exercises through this process. And if you can pull up NAKAI, N-A-K-A-I, Intervisions on YouTube, I would appreciate that because we'll use that throughout our session. I've already asked you to be in a quiet space, but also have some paper and a writing utensil to go along with that, because we'll be I'm going to ask you to write some things down and take some notes as we move forward. Before I move forward, for those of you that are with us, if you would in the chat, just let me know that you are with me, you're following. I would appreciate it, just letting me know that you're with me before I move further. Okay, beautiful. Great, thank you, Johnette, for posting, sharing that link. Okay, very good. So I'm offering this session not just because I want to give you a space to sit and reflect and regroup, to rejuvenate yourself. I also created that space because I've been where you are, and it sucked and it didn't feel good at all. And I searched high and low. Thank you, Melody. Thank you. I searched high and low for a soft place to land. I needed help, but I couldn't get any help because at the time, as I was looking for my new role, everything came with a price tag that I couldn't afford. And so, or I went to places and spaces where folks would refer me to other people, but the disposition of the folks that I came in contact with wasn't necessarily a place of care. It was, you got to get up and do it. You have to do this, you have to do that. And so many checklists of things. And they didn't quite really understand where I was at the time. I was still recovering from my own disruption in my career. And so, I was putting forth a face, right? That my resume tells, that my LinkedIn profile tells, that my social media tells. And it's a version of that everything is perfect. Everything looks great, but hiding in the crevices of all of those things was unemployment, was a layoff, were financial challenges, were tears, frustrations, and really, quite frankly, fears. And for those of you who have not heard my story, I'll share it briefly. In 2012, after I earned my third degree, which was my doctorate in education policy and leadership from the University of Maryland, College Park, my advisor and everyone around me said that you will have no problem going back into the workforce. And when I say go back, it was because I had to resign from my full-time job in order to complete my dissertation and to defend. And so I was fully prepared to go back into the workforce, but it did not happen the way I expected. And so during that time where I couldn't figure out which way I was going, I had to do some assessing. I had to figure out what I wanted to do. I had to look at where I was, right? I did many come to Jesus moments because I didn't have the answers, and everything that I thought would be and should be wasn't. Finally, I got a job, but I took a $20,000 pay cut, right? In less than a year, I was laid off from that job due to budget cuts, what that organization was experiencing. Several months later, obtained another role, a director of programs. In less than a year, I was promoted to managing director. And then this organization decides to reorg, and all of their middle managers, including me and some of their senior level folks, were laid off as well because they needed funds to regroup and reorganize and go in a different direction. So as you can imagine, I'm scared, I'm frustrated, I don't know what to do because I had gotten all of this education in order to prevent this sort of thing from happening to me. And that's what we're taught, right? That's what we're told. Get an education to get a good job to prevent some of these challenges from happening. And it ended up happening to me. And so I decided or had a decision to make. Was I going to live or die? And I don't mean a physical death, but I had a choice to make. Was I going to continue to fret over what wasn't, to fret over what shouldn't have been? Or was I going to pick myself up and create a new reality for myself? And so I chose life, of course. And on April 17th, 2017, on my deceased grandmother's 98th birthday, I launched Liberated Expressions. And I find it amazing how your pain can be turned into power, right? And it's also amazing what you can create when your back is up against the wall. And so through that process, I learned 6 things that I want to share with you. The first of which is you can be well educated, but not well activated. And that simply means that there are many educated people, including me, that don't understand how to use the knowledge they have and where to place that knowledge for long-term liberated benefit. You know, I firmly believe and know now that degrees shouldn't keep you in bondage. You should be able to think outside of the box and create your own realities and options for yourself. Right? You don't need a degree to do that, but I think sometimes we lean too much on our degrees to open these doors. And when they don't, we're stifled, we're perplexed, we don't know what to do. And I'm saying today that if you find yourself in that situation where you're waiting for a door to open, I'm saying to you that you have the means, you have the smarts, you have the wherewithal to not only open the door for yourself, but to create the door for yourself. The second thing I learned is that I am not my title. Your title doesn't make you. You must know who you are without it. And if you don't, if your identity, professional identity, is based on a title, this process that you might find yourself in and looking for a job could put you in an uphill battle. And so I want to let you know and encourage you that maybe you're not the vice president anymore in terms of title, but you're still a vice president because you have the skills, you have the knowledge, you have the expertise to be that, and you are that. And so I want you to know that you are not your title. Degrees won't keep you employed for all of the reasons that I've just shared. Fourth, sometimes what's in the way becomes the way, meaning your professional challenges could be the very catalyst that moves you into something great. And I believe that all of you that are watching now live or on the replay, that there is something that's tapping you on the shoulder right now that has been bugging you maybe for years, but you've rejected it. You've said no. And I'm saying to you that now may be the time to really embrace it and explore how you can bring that vision to life. Number 5, many times we wait until we are threatened, scared, or frustrated before we revise our path forward. And all I simply mean here is we tend to be reactive instead of proactive. We don't necessarily look at our resume until something happens. We don't put our dreams in motion until something happens or we're forced to. And I'm just encouraging you, particularly in this season where everything has been turned upside down, turned on its head, that this is the ideal time to step out, to branch out and do something very, very different that maybe is uncomfortable for you. But you will find peace in that place. You'll find a new avenue in that place if you're willing to say yes and move forward in a different direction. And number 6, your resume is not for a hiring manager. Despite what you may have heard, your resume is not for your hiring manager. And I should rephrase it and say, it's not for them first. It's for you first. It's for you to know what's in it. It's for you to own it. It's for you to embrace it and maximize it. If you are only using your resume to get a job through the means of applying and having someone to hire you, then I say you're underutilizing that document. I say it's for you to take a look and to dig in and to be proactive in terms of presenting yourself and sharing with people what you have to offer. And in some cases, again, creating your own door and opening it. And so I've learned that throughout this process and in some ways the hard way. And my prayer is that as I'm sharing this with you, that you can hear what I'm saying and that you will take this as your sign, as your signal to move forward on the things that you have been halting on. Now is the time, is the season, is the place. And despite all of the things that have come about due to COVID, it's about changing our perspective because business is still being done. Folks are still being hired. Businesses are still being created. And this is not the time to fall back. It really is the time to put your foot on the accelerator and to move forward. But in order to move forward, we need clarity. And I know for a fact that job fatigue can disrupt our clarity and our confidence. Because, we're afraid, right? I know what it is to not be able to pay a bill. I get it. I know what it is when, the phone calls start and folks want their money and things are stacking up and then you're desperate. And then because of the disparity, you release your focus and begin to use everything, including the kitchen sink, right, to look for a job. And I always talk about taking the kitchen sink approach because when we're desperate and we're feverish to find answers, we grab any and everything, even in our resumes, right? I've seen resumes where folks like, I'm just going to dump everything in it because if I do that, something is bound to land. And that really isn't the approach to take. It creates a lack of clarity, and then you end up in places and spaces that you didn't intend to be, and you wonder, how did I get here? And it was because we lost focus, because we were afraid, right? Our confidence was compromised. And so today I want to bring us back or pull us into a space of clarity because it's critical. In order to create a path for yourself, you have to know where you're going. And I know all about, the fear component of this. And I'm going to share with you, I've experienced that fear. And so the fear that I experienced was being viewed as a failure. Here I am with 3 degrees. How is it that you don't have a job? How is it that you've been laid off twice? So I was afraid of being a failure. I was afraid of the bills. I was embarrassed. And I felt a measure of guilt. So for those of you who may be in a relationship, your significant other, although they may not be doing this, but in your mind, you could think that they're looking at you like, okay, something has to give, right? You need to do something. Whether they're saying it or not, you could feel that in your spirit. And that's how I was feeling, even though I have a very supportive husband. In my mind, I felt that he was just trying to be supportive, but really he wanted something different, or we needed to do something different. And so I felt guilt because I knew that I was putting additional pressure on him. And so I want you to think about all of those things and really settle yourself in for the process that we're about to go through to help you to gain the clarity that you might need in this season, but also the courage to act and to move so that you can create and do something different and not wait for the phone to ring and not wait for the email to come for the interview, but to really branch out and step into maybe a space that you've never been into before to create something that you've never created before. So let's talk a little bit about assessment. And I call it a resume assessment, but really it's a professional assessment or value assessment. So I want you to think a little bit about your professional brand. What is your professional brand? And for those of you that have participated in the CDPD sessions, there have been many sessions to help prepare you, and a few that talk about branding, your professional brand. And what I mean by that is not what you do, right? But what is an organization or a company getting when they hire you? What do you bring to the table beyond what you do? So, for example, I have a background in education, nonprofit management, education advocacy, and higher education. Now I support individuals with professional services like resume strategy support and providing sessions like this, right? But what I'm really bringing to the table are confidence, inspiration, understanding, compassion, clarity, some level of spirituality, awareness, peace, relief. And here's the funny part about it. I've always done that. Despite my career change, these are the things that I've always done. And I did not realize it until a young lady found me on LinkedIn. We had gone to undergrad together. And she's like, you know what? You've always done this. You were doing this in college, but I didn't even realize it. I didn't even understand it. And so what I'm saying to you now is in this space, in this season, in this time, you may know what you offer in terms of professional expertise, but what is underneath of that? What's the thing that's going to carry you wherever you go? What are the things that you offer in whatever role that you're in? And so what I'd like to invite you to do right now is to ask yourself that question and to take about 30 seconds to jot those things down. Don't overthink it. Just go ahead and write those things down. And if you'd like to share a few of those things in the chat, I would definitely, I invite you to do that. All right. So as you're wrapping up with identifying your brand and what you bring to the table beyond your expertise, I also want you to think about what you want to be, what you want to do, and what you want to have. I think many times when we think about visioning, we only think about what we want to have, but it's really important to think about being, doing, then having. So as a precursor to us going into our visioning portion of this session, I want you to write down the following. I want to be, leave a blank. So I can do, leave a blank. Then I can have. I want to be, so I can do, then I can have. I want to be so that I can do, then I can have. Okay. So as you break this down for the B section, I want you to write down 3 to 5 qualities of who you want to be professionally on a daily basis. 3 to 5 qualities of who you want to be professionally on a daily basis. For the do, I want you to write 3 to 5 things you want to do professionally. Again, don't overthink it. And then finally, what kinds of things do you want to have professionally? Melody, thank you for sharing your value, your compassion, and your spontaneity in addition to your expertise and experience. Okay, I'll give you just a few more moments to jot those down. All right. Okay. So now that you've done that, I want us to go into a visioning exercise. And this is where the music comes in. I want you to play this on your own once we get started, but I want you to mute yourself as we go through this process. Johnette, I don't know if this is something we can share in terms of the music or not. I'm not sure how it would sound through this process, but
let me see. Let me mute myself first. I'm gonna pull it up and see.
okay. Great. Thank you. Okay. So if everyone would take a moment just to get centered, close your eyes and get relaxed. As you become more relaxed, I want you to see yourself waiting for someone. And that someone is your ideal you in a new job position. Maybe you'll meet your ideal self in an art gallery, coffee shop, or in the comfort of your home. Whichever you choose, give yourself a moment to envision the sights, sounds, and smells all around you. When you're ready, I want you to allow the ideal self to join you wherever you are. Visiting you from 30 days to 90 days from today. And I want you to take a moment to choose the time frame. It could be longer, it could be shorter. Now I want you to take some time to see how your ideal self looks in that time frame. Now ask ideal you questions about their life. How are you living? What's making you happy? What new role do you have? What do you like about the new role? Just take a few moments to ask your ideal self all of the questions that you want to know about your new professional life, and allow yourself to answer those questions without restriction. When you're ready, I want you to open your eyes, and I want you to begin to write down what you saw. The key to this part of the exercise is not to edit your vision. Don't ask how, why, what, who, just write what you saw. I will give you 30 more seconds. And if you're comfortable, I would love for those of you who are participating to share in the chat or via Facebook just some parts that you feel comfortable sharing of your vision. Okay. All right. So I know that we are operating I love doing this in person. I know we're operating virtually here, but would anyone like to share anything from their vision that some level of clarity, something maybe that surprised you, or anything, any feedback that you would like to share? Any ahas? As you're thinking about that, you all can see that I have a vision board behind me, and this is a board that I created a few years ago, actually, when I was starting this process. And at the time that I created this, I really needed some motivation. I needed some inspiration. I needed to know that I needed just boost myself up, right? Because I wasn't sure if I could go on this entrepreneurial journey. I wasn't sure at all. And so I had to really say, I love me and I want to be an innovator, a legend, an icon. And you see this outfit here. I actually have that outfit and I've worn it and felt great about it. And you'll even notice that on some of the pictures here, I've put my face here. And I will tell you that many of the things that I have placed on this board have come to fruition. And I at one time, I didn't take much stock in visioning and getting clarity, but I am here to say that it works. It is a powerful process for all of us to engage in and work through. So I see that we have a few comments. I am walking in my future now, seeing my 10-year vision of being a well-known speaker and author, helping people understand their superpowers. Thank you, Daryl. I appreciate that. I am walking in my future now. Okay, got it. Excited for the future because I'm reprogramming my mind from the past traumas of my life. Yes. This is from, Rhonda on Facebook. I was entering a Thai restaurant looking sharp, happy and feeling good. Good. I was meeting with someone who wanted me to write a column for their business, outlining their products and services. Beautiful. Beautiful. And so the question is, Daryl and Rhonda and others, one, thank you for sharing. So if that's what you saw, what's next? So some of you are walking in your future now. Others have, maybe there's a vision that hasn't come to fruition yet. What's the next step to this process? What will you do now? What can you do to manifest some things within the next 30 to 90 days to make the vision that you saw during this process come to fruition? What can you do to make that happen? And one of the things that I have learned throughout this process is that, many times we try to do these things on our own for various reasons. I know for me, I've done a lot of things on my own because I don't know that I fully knew how to trust others with my idea, right? But I've come to learn that sometimes it takes having other people be a part of our team to give us wind, to give us ideas that we can share with one another in order for these things to come to life. And sometimes I've also learned that in helping other people's dreams to come true, we also can make our dreams come true. And so I'll give you an example. And this is dream coupled with really taking steps to create a door and open a door and also put some additional funds in my bank account. And so there was a moment in my business where things were lagging a bit. A fellow business owner came to me and basically asked if I knew anyone that could support her with note taking. She's in project management. She has large projects. And so she just needed someone to take notes. And I gave her a recommendation and it didn't work out. And I thought to myself, I'm like, I respect this woman. She is where I want to be in my business. I can learn a lot from her. I didn't want to ask her to be a mentor because I know that doing that official mentorship can be, it can be a lot of work. But I said to myself, I can support her. I was on a board, I served on a board before of a nonprofit. I served as the secretary on that board. So I was like, I will support you. And she was also working in places and spaces where I wanted to be at the table for myself as a business owner. And so I started taking notes for her and providing notes. So not only was I getting paid for it, which also put an additional $1,000 or $1,500 or so in my bank account, I was also at a table with people that I wanted to be at the table with. It was a door. I was also supporting a fellow entrepreneur. I was also getting some education and mentorship that I needed. And so it was a win-win all the way around. And she asked me, why would you want to do that as a fellow business owner? And I gave her all of the reasons that I just shared with you. But it also meant, and as quiet as this is kept, it also meant me putting away my ego. Sometimes that ego is the thing that gets in the way because we're not willing to humble ourselves enough to put ourselves in positions that we may feel like are beneath us. And if you recall, I shared that we are not our title. And sometimes it's that title that gets in the way from keeping us from doing other things because we think, oh, that's beneath us. And I'm saying that this is an opportunity again to do something very, very different, to readjust, reprioritize, rework how we've operated in the past in order to create something new. And so my prayer and my hope for you all today, I didn't intend for this to be a long session, but what I have learned and found out that there are so many professionals who are frazzled right now, who are afraid, who don't know what to do, not realizing that it is just as important to find a place in a space to map out your vision as it is to send off a resume, to revamp your resume, to network, all of those things. It's just as important to find time to do this work. Because if we don't sit down with ourselves to get a measure of clarity, to even figure out what it is we want in this season, then we're off pursuing things that we shouldn't pursue, right? That we shouldn't pursue. And then we end up in places and spaces that we shouldn't be, and we don't even know how we got there, right? Daryl says, ego and title keep you in a bubble, limiting yourself. Absolutely right. And I'm saying, let's do something different so we can get something different, right? So we can get something different. Use all of that good stuff that you have in this season and time and put it to work. But you have to first know what that is. You know, I will tell you another story. When I was laid off from this very last job before I went into entrepreneurship, what I don't tell many people is, even before I was laid off, I was feeling this overwhelming sense of dread. That even though I had started this role and hadn't been there very long, I started going to work and feeling like I didn't want to be there. And I didn't know what to do with that. I was too afraid to explore something different. And I'm like, I just couldn't understand what it was. And so I feel like, quite frankly, that My layoff was a divine nudge for me to do something different because I would not have left that role on my own. I wouldn't have left it on my own. And so immediately, the very next day, I started doing the paperwork to make my business official because it was something that had been tapping me on the shoulder for a very long time. But again, too afraid to launch. But guess what else? I said, how is it now? You all heard my background. I have a BA in communication, a master's in telecommunications, a doctorate in education policy and leadership. How in the world could I justify moving from that place and space to where I am now? How could I justify that? I couldn't rationalize it. And guess what? I let other people get in my ear because they couldn't understand it. Then I allowed myself not to understand it. And so I kept myself in this very limiting place because of what other people might think of me and because it didn't make sense at the time. Guess what? Everything isn't going to make sense. Everything, you can't color everything in the lines. And your vision, everybody is not going to get your vision because it's not their vision, it's yours. And everything that you use in your roles right now is everything that you can in making other people rich. And I always talk about entrepreneurship because I always believe that everyone should have something else. But even if it's in a traditional role, right? You have to find the dream in that, the passion in that, and do it in the way that makes you feel good, in the way that makes you feel powerful. And know when it's either time to leave or stay, whichever, makes sense at the time. Sometimes we stay too long. Sometimes roles are killing us because we are not able to put forth who we are in the way that we need to that's meaningful. That's why we're bored. That's why I have so many clients who are becoming physically ill from their jobs because it's not fulfilling. They're not doing anything related to what makes them move. So I'm encouraging you today to use this time, this space to continue the walk of clarity and honor your gut. Honor those dreams. Dreams are not just dreams, they are divine downloads uniquely for you. And I firmly believe that if they weren't meant for you, then you wouldn't get them, right? If they weren't meant for you to execute, then they wouldn't be your dream. It's all available for you to do and to have. And so what I want to encourage you to do, and Rhonda, thank you so much. I appreciate you for enjoying the exercise. You're always a big supporter. I appreciate you so much. Is to honor yourself and use this time to continue this process by manifesting your ideas and your dreams, either through vision boarding, what I've done here, or maybe even just writing out as you've created that vision, what will it take for me to get there? What else do I need to do within the next 30 to 90 days to position myself, to align myself to the place that I'm trying to go? What else do I need to do, right? Do I need to network more? Do I need to put myself out on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever? And what do I mean by that? I know even though I don't know you, but I am believing that everyone on this call has something that they can teach, something they can talk about to be able to inform and educate others. So even if you're looking for a job, you could say, well, I don't have anything to talk about, but that's not true. You know what your expertise are. You know, you indicated what your value is. There's no reason why you can't begin to be a thought leader on LinkedIn to share your expertise. And now you're creating a portfolio for yourself that hiring managers could find very interesting, which could then lead you into an interview. Again, that's creating the door and opening the door for yourself. And let's, for instance, folks, let's take Johnette for example. She's a perfect example. Johnette created this space out of a need, right? Someone came to her, if I'm recalling the story correctly, Johnette, folks needed help with their resumes. And rather than her providing all of the resources, she decided to get other experts to come on to provide these resources. She's doing this because she cares, right? And because of her care, she's been acknowledged on LinkedIn News and other publications. This recent award that she's received, all because of an idea, all because of determination, all because she believed in what she had to offer and didn't listen to the naysayers. And she's created this tremendous group that's creating so much buzz and attention. And all I'm saying is we can do the very same thing for what we're called to do. And as we enter and go into 2021, there's nothing special about 2021. The only thing different is how you'll enter it and what your mindset is. And I have various things on tap myself. You know, I have a moisturizer that I'm putting out, right? And again, the moisturizer, you would think, well, how does that all come together? It all comes together because I'm creating a professional oasis, is what I call it, that is going to cater to the needs that I've noticed of professionals, particularly professional women all around the world, and creating a place and a space that they can come to get professionally rejuvenated. And I'm just saying now, if there ever was a time to take leaps and to own and value who you are and to assess your value and to put things in motion, it is now. It is absolutely now. And so as we come to the hour, one, I want to thank you, Johnette, thank you again, and everyone who joined the training live and the replay. Thank you for tuning in. I don't believe in accidents. I believe everyone who's listening to this, they're listening to it. It's a purpose and a reason. You may have been looking for a sign or a symbol or a smoke signal, a pigeon carrier or something to give you the green light to move forward. Well, this is your green light. Daryl, Melody, and Rhonda, thank you for chiming in. This is your green light to push forward, to move forward, to create the door and to open it. So I pray that you feel rejuvenated. I pray that you are recharged. I pray that you have a new energy. I pray that you're not overcome with job search fatigue. And I pray that in this season that you will be bold in a way that you have never been before. It's your season, it's your time, it's your now. Thank you so much. And if you all have any questions that I can entertain, and as you might be thinking about those questions or comments, I want you all to know that you can find me at liberated-expressions.com. Again, I provide resume strategy support, and I also do workshops like this. I will tell you, today was a leap for me. This is the first time I've done this session virtually, trying to figure out how to do it. How will it land? I don't know. Your feedback would be very helpful because I'm accustomed to doing this in a group over a 2 to 4 hour period. So it's more detailed than what I've shown and shared with you today. And I was afraid. I had not offered it in a while because I wasn't sure of how to do it via a virtual space. And also, I'll be even more transparent that when I do these kinds of sessions, I prefer the Zoom call structure instead of the webinar, because then I can see faces and I can get energy. I can draw from the nonverbals. But this is me taking my own leap. And I share that. I'm transparent with you to know, because sometimes we hear speakers and we think they have it all together. No, I want to be vulnerable with you so that you know that I know exactly what you're feeling, that I'm taking my own leaps, my own steps, going against my own fear in this moment, because I know there's value in it. I've done it before. I have to keep doing it again. And I want to encourage you and for you all to do the very same thing. The time is now, the time is now, the time is now. And I appreciate you all for joining.
Oh my goodness, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Caesar. That's a Caesar. So we had, I tagged you in the group. You're in, everyone, if you don't know, Dr. Caesar is in our group. So I tagged her so that she can see the comments, because I was trying to get some of them up there, but so she could actually see the comments. I know getting them gives you energy. Same for me when I'm presenting. Yeah. So you can go back and look at those. I thank everyone for participating today. And I really appreciate you for sharing that this was something you were uncomfortable trying out and fearful of, we do need to lean into that discomfort. I think you've said that to us multiple times, and I've been echoing that since your first time here. And I really appreciate that. I don't see, let me go back one more time and see if I have any direct questions. And I don't, I just have comments. So I tagged you in those so that you can see the comments. And I'm just really thankful. I would encourage you to do this one again. And if we do it again, I'll set it up as a call, maybe with a little more, maybe if I post it up earlier and we get people to sign up, we can actually do a call, and I won't even stream it into Facebook. This way people have to come on to the call, have to come on to the meeting, and I will post it later for people to catch the replay. So we can do.
I would love that.
If you'd like to try that out again. Because unfortunately, as these COVID numbers are going up, you may have to do more of this in this type of a format instead of an in-person format. So I want you to perfect it.
Right.
Well, today I want you to, feel like this is what I do, and I can do it in this format and in person. So I thank everyone. I don't feel as if I missed anything. Thank you, Melody C.
Thank you, Melody. I appreciate that.
Oh, I love it. You looking into the camera, so I was able to feel connected. I love it. Yes, so I don't have any questions. I appreciate everything that you do for us in CDPD, and I encourage you to come back again, even if it's not for this, for anything that you'd like. You want to try something out with us, come on and try it.
I appreciate it.
And I will post up your website and all of your contact information in the group. If anyone registered for the presentation, they get your contact information, but I'll post everything up, including your LinkedIn and your website right now. So please definitely connect, and we will stay connected. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Thank you. You too.
Happy New Year.
You too. Everyone as well. Have a good one.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.